Well, we're up in the attic again.
Looking for stuff.
Looking for stuff.
Oh my.
Actually, we wanted to start this week with a piece of bad news that we heard. Grandt Line Models is closing down.
Oh wow.
And we're hoping that at least some of the Grandt Line parts and whatnot are going to be offered through somebody else.
I hope so.
But apparently, at least as Grandt Line, at least the word on the street right now is there is no Grandt Line. They are closing down as Grandt Line. The whole piece of business was started by Cliff Grandt, who survived to be almost as old as Methuselah. I think he was about 180 or 160.
Somewhere in there.
He was at all the conventions and he was everywhere, and a machinist by trade.
Oh, really?
And he made these molds for making plastic injection castings of train stuff in HO and O scale. And then he offered those to people, and mostly people just bought little castings. But if you wanted to buy a complete kit from him, he was knocking these things out, and sometimes you'd find them in the hobby shops, sometimes not. Sometimes you just had to call, and his wife would take the order, and you'd order your kit. But this is a little locomotive kit.
Oh wow.
And is that neat? This is an O scale kit. And I think it's an O scale. There's the crosshead.
Oh, neat.
And the instructions are just done on a typewriter.
Oh, my word.
Because most of these things were done like in the 60s when there was no word processing.
Right.
And then these were like mimeographed to duplicate. And then later on, they actually got a copy machine instead of a mimeograph. But if you get the older ones, they smell of
mimeograph.
Yeah, mimeograph and stuff. There's the back head and anyway, what separates the Grandt lines is the molds were so well done.
They are.
And they're just teeny, just teeny. Most of the biggest trees that you'd find in the kits might be that big.
Oh wow.
Because he was making them on these little small injection machines, and that's about the biggest mold he could fit in the machine.
Oh my word.
And then some of these, in the earlier days, almost the entire line, but if you wanted these in brass, they'd send the plastic off somewhere, and you can actually turn plastic into brass through the investment process. And you just put this in the cristobalite and burn it out and pour in the brass, and it
goes brass. Wow.
So a lot of his stuff was available in plastic or brass, and then slowly less and less brass and more plastic. And now, as we hear, nothing.
Nothing. No plans for someone else to take it over, huh?
Well, I know there's been talk. Dave Roten, our friend Dave, was negotiating with him and trying to figure out a way to add Grandt Line to his offerings. But maybe somebody. This is how most people know Grandt Line, and you can see it says Grandt Line on the back there. But just the little window casting.
Oh, look at that.
You've worked with these.
Of course. Those are they're so perfect.
This is HO, but they're all the way up to half-inch scale. You can get doors that are this tall and giant windows and little small and just, but almost everybody uses Grandt Line windows and doors.
Wow. When
you're scratch building structures. I don't know what Al's going to do. He'll just go out of business. You know, our friend Al who scratch builds structures, and that's all Grandt Line doors and windows.
Oh my goodness, he'll have to make a run on the place and get in a supply.
Well, he's been trying to call around and buy stuff up. These are washers, little nut bolt washer castings. These are butt castings, and these are building plaques. We'll edit that out. These are little tiny numbers to put on your building for address numbers, or a date for the. There's some doors. Not the band, the thing. Okay, and upper porch spool trim. So, $2. Anyway, we hope this stuff stays on because you just need a plastic butt now and then. And you could call up over to Grandt Line, and Cliff's wife would answer the phone, and you'd give him the order, and next thing you know, a little package would come in the mail with all your castings. And some of these were available in hobby shops. This Pioneer Hobby's been out of business. I think they went out of business in about 1812.
Heavens. You only paid $1.50 for that, too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's been a while back.
Well, you know, they really never got much more expensive. That's not to say you couldn't easily drop $100 building a building. By the time you bought all the windows and the doors and the little bric-a-brac and the house numbers and, you know, dollar here, dollar there, dollar
Yeah,
there.
that's any hobby shop, though, really.
But that's any hobby.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Anyway, we do hope that Grandt Line reemerges, and if not, what a ride it's been.
Yeah.
Cliff Grandt and his
my.
amazing kits and plastic bits and pieces. And let's just hope that the whole thing doesn't go completely away.
Let's hope it doesn't.
For one thing, we need the windows
That's
and doors.
right.
Not that we don't. We probably have, what, maybe 6,000 different Grandt Line
There's never
castings
enough.
around the shop here. So anything's possible. Anything's possible.
One of your
Model
cars over
T,
here is
Model T.
wanting you to assemble it.
Anyway, if you haven't been over to the channel, do pop over to the channel. Almost 300 movies.
Oh, it's close.
We're putting together the 300th show as we speak, and
Right.
that'll be really fun. And pop over there and binge watch for a while, and so on and so forth. And if you're not a subscriber, you want to subscribe with the newfangled blue round button. You ready for it?
There it is. My best one.
Zoink! Right there.
Yeah.
That big button right there is
Watch
the
out,
new
Carl
subscribe
Malone.
button. Well, we're not sure how you found this movie on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Sunday as we drive around a bit. See you then.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.